Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the Mafex Batman Hush Nightwing. I ordered this figure from AmiAmi.com. If you're ordering from one of those American websites, you're probably paying far too much for your Mafex figures. I'll drop a link in the description below. This is going to be a regular, modern Nightwing figure in the 6-inch scale. Looking forward to seeing how he fits in with Batman and the rest of the Hush line. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see, Batman Hush, Nightwing, Batman Hush version, Mafex, DC Comics, Medicom Toys. Here he is in the package. A ton of accessories. Looks like a lot of variations of his batons. One side, Batman Hush. Other side, here's Nightwing. This is the 175th figure in the Mafex line. Backside, you see Nightwing with a bunch of different display options. I really like the different options for his nightsticks. At the bottom, got a bunch of credits. There's his barcode, if that somehow helps anybody. So no further ado, let's open him up. And of course, I did get two of these figures, one of which to open out of joy, and one to keep unopened in my complete, unopened Batman-related action figure collection. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He comes with a display stand, 10 alternate hands, totaling 12 interchangeable hands, 2 heads, an alternate back piece to stow away his staffs, 2 eskrima sticks, or staffs, or batons, and then another variation with a wire out you can use as a grapple, etc. That is a brand new accessory I've not seen before. Pretty cool. This is going to be a standard, modern Nightwing in the 6-inch scale. He's specifically from the comic Batman Hush. So let's take a look at him. As you can see, face sculpt looks great. Hair flowing in the wind a little bit. He's got the sort of bat-shaped, exaggerated domino mask, done in blue. Face looks very nice. Eyes are in white. Going for the down. Body looks good. One thing I don't like is these butterfly joint shoulders. I think they're ugly. Just very noticeable. And then they get not lined up very easily and really messes up the costume design. I mean, look at that piece. Just not feeling it. And even when you have it lined up perfect, they're still very noticeable. Beyond that, his body looks great. Articulation looks fantastic. Looks to be double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. He does have a butterfly joint, which is going to help poses, but it can look ugly really easy. Overall, a little bit smaller than my personal tastes, but he's going to fit in really good with the other 6-inch stuff, like Marvel Legends, etc., etc. Going to be a nice sidekick for maybe your Mezco figures. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. It looks pretty good. Hair flowing in the wind. Maybe a little bent head. Whatever. I don't know. I think it's the paint that makes it just that much more noticeable. Because Batman and Superman, the other Hush figures have this as well. But it's just really bothering me on this Nightwing. And here's the figure broken down as far as it can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's take a look at his accessories. And let's start off with the display stand. Now let's look at his flight stand. There are 7 different pieces. You need 3 of them to utilize the basic functions. When you put the flight stand together, it looks like this. It's got a large transparent base, 3 different peg holes to attach the post. Then when you get the post in there, you can rotate at the bottom, hinged at the bottom, hinge in the middle, hinge at the top, rotation at the top, and it has this clamp to hold your figure in place. Now let's take a look at his hands. He has 12 of them, 6 left hands, 6 right hands. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. And here he is with his second pair of hands. These are his gripping hands. And here, with some open hands, these could be some grabbing, throwing hands. And here's some completely flat hands. Almost looks like karate chopping hands. Here's his next pair of hands. This is a pair of normal hands. Would look good relaxed at his sides. Here's his final pair of hands. This has the eskrima sticks, and he's spinning them really fast. Pretty cool accessory, cool effect. And if you want to, you can take the eskrima stick effect off his hands. And he has his fingers sort of sticking out like so. Now let's look at his heads. He has 2 of them. One with a normal expression, one with sort of an angry expression. They both have the hair flowing in the wind. I think one of them should have had normal hair. Here's his first head. This one has more normal expression. His hair is flowing in the wind, but it looks just kind of weird from some angles. And here's his second head. This one has the angry expression. Now for the swappable back pieces, which is an interesting idea. I guess it gives you the best of both worlds, the smooth, clean suit, and the ability to stow away his eskrima sticks. Each piece is pretty flat. On the inside, it's hollow. It's got some pegs and holes. Here's Nightwing with no back attached. Here's Nightwing with his smooth back. And here's his alternate back with the holsters for his batons. This is the back that I'll be using for him, as I love to be able to stow away the weapons. Now for his batons, or sticks, staffs, escrima sticks, a ton of different names for these things. They're really just silver sticks, absolutely nothing really exceptional going on here. You actually get 3 different ways to display his escrima sticks. We have the standard version, then we have the spinning transparent version of the top, and then we have the 2 connected together with a bendy wire. And that's a really cool accessory. I've never seen anything quite like that with Nightwing. Bendy wire can take any of the shapes you want it to. Now I've seen him use these as sort of grapnel launchers, but it looks like they can connect together, make a big jump rope. Here's Nightwing holding his 2 staffs, and here holding his 2 staffs together like a big jump rope. And here, sort of launching the escrima stick. He could be perhaps grappling onto another side, or maybe throwing and hitting somebody in the head, or even wrapping around him, pulling him back to him. Here's Nightwing spinning his escrima sticks, showing off. And here's Nightwing holstering those batons on his back. And I wanted to check out the reuse on this figure. It seems like quite a bit. So, the boot cut is a little bit different. His sort of comes to a point in the middle. His are flat, although not painted, so totally necessary. The leg itself is definitely the same, just the boot was altered. You can see the muscles are exactly the same on the top right leg here. Chest there, his abs. I mean, it really looks like it's the same piece to me. I don't know what you guys think. Chest, torso area has a lot of the same muscles inside of here. Looks like a lot of the body is simply reused between Batman, Nightwing, and Superman. I always felt like this Batman seemed a little bit too thin. Nightwing definitely shares a lot of the same parts. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. And he's definitely on the small side of things. From bottom to the top of his head, about 6.2 inches tall, which can translate to just under 16 centimeters. Now for his articulation, start with his head. Of course, you can rotate from side to side. You can look up and down a very impressive amount. Use articulation at the top of the neck and at the bottom of the neck. You can tilt his head from one side to the other. Very wide range of motion there. Shoulders on a ball joint goes way more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. Butterfly joint here, allowing him to swivel forward and back. Bicep cut. Double jointed elbows. They go in about that far. His wrist, rotate, and it's hinged. Ball joint his torso, rotate around, forward and back. Another one is waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, very impressive range of motion. Very nice for an acrobat like Nightwing. Legs, complete as splits. Ball joints. They can rotate independently of the ball. They go forward, about that much. Back, not much. Double jointed knees, they go all the way back. Then his ankle here, forward and back. Tilt, rock, rotate, and toe articulation. Here's a look at Nightwing on a rooftop in Gotham, overlooking and defending the city. Nightwing hears something, gets up, pulls out his escrima sticks. Here's a look at Nightwing running on a rooftop next to Batman in that famous Hush pose, and a closer look at Nightwing in the running pose. Now let's check him out next to some other action figures, starting off with some of their Nightwing figures. Here he is, next to the DC Direct Nightwing from Batman Hush. Been a long time, finally got another version of the Hush Nightwing. As far as other Nightwing figures go, he's probably most comparable to the DC Direct, DC Icons Nightwing. He's in a modern costume and is a similar size. That's the one I see most people displaying with other Mafex figures. Here he is, next to all of my Mattel Nightwing figures. Then, next to my DC Direct and DC Collectibles Nightwing figures. And now, next to my McFarlane DC Multiverse Nightwing figures. Here are all of my Nightwing figures in the 6 and 7 inch scale. I have almost all of them, missing at least 1 or 2 by DC Direct. McFarlane typically makes 7 inch scale Nightwing figures, but they've also made 4 inch and 3 inch versions in their Superpowers and Page Puncher lines. Now let's check them out, next to some Dick Grayson Robin figures. As you all know, Dick Grayson was Batman's first Robin. Eventually he grew up and became Nightwing. Here's the Mafex Hush Nightwing, next to the McFarlane DC Multiverse Dick Grayson Robin. And here's Nightwing, next to some more McFarlane Dick Grayson Robin figures. These are from their 1966 line. And here's this Nightwing, next to some DC Direct Dick Grayson Robin figures. These are all from Batman the Animated Series. They make some other ones. I simply don't have any. Then, with my Mattel Dick Grayson Robin figures. And here, next to an older Toy Biz Dick Grayson Robin. Here he is, next to a Mattel Dick Grayson as Batman figure. And here, next to a civilian Dick Grayson that I made. Then, next to a DC Direct Dick Grayson as Red Robin from Kingdom Come. Here's Nightwing, next to a DC Direct Nightwing figure. This is not Dick Grayson, but a female in the armored suit. Now let's check him out. Next to some other Mafex Hush figures. Here he is, next to the Mafex Hush Batman. And here he is, next to the Mafex Hush Huntress. A couple more Bat allies to add to the Mafex roster. Then, next to the Mafex Hush Catwoman. And now, next to the Mafex Hush Superman figure. And here, next to Mafex's Hush and Jason Todd. Then, next to the Batman Hush, Joker and Harley Quinn. Here's the entire Mafex Batman Hush collection. There's only one other figure confirmed so far, and that's Poison Ivy. Definitely looking forward to her. And I guess my wish list would be a Tim Drake Robin and Killer Croc next. Although there's a ton of rogues they could make, like Ra's al Ghul, Riddler, and more. Now let's check him out. Next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise. In case you don't know which lines you can mix him with, since he's a Mafex figure, they're typically the 6-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of these smaller action figure lines I collect, and work my way larger. But first, let's check him out with some of his Mafex brothers. Here he is, with several different Mafex Batman figures. Then, next to even more Mafex figures. And now, with some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. Here's Nightwing, next to a Power Duo. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here he is, next to some Mezco 1/12 collective figures. And now, next to some Jazzwares AEW wrestling figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And here he is, standing with some NECA figures. Then, with some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here he is, with some McFarlane toys. And now, with some DST or Diamond Select toys. And finally, next to some Jack-specific wrestling figures. So overall, it's a pretty nice Nightwing figure. A little bit small for my personal tastes, but if you want a Nightwing figure to go along with your Marvel Legends, maybe SH Figure Arts or Mezco figures, this is the one. If you want to go with your DC Universe Classics figures, it could work. If you want to go with your McFarlane stuff, not a chance. I personally prefer the 7-inch scale, but I do want a Nightwing for my 6-inch scale collection. The figure looks pretty good. I'm not really a fan of the hair going in the wind. It just comes off kind of looking bad from some angles. His articulation is excellent. Accessories are pretty cool. I really like the extra things with the batons, the spinning baton, and the sort of grabbing a baton. Very nice touches, things we haven't seen before with a Nightwing figure. Now, butterfly joints really bother me. I think they're really ugly, and especially with the paint job, they can look bad. More than they look good, honestly. If I were to rate this figure, I'd probably give him an 8 out of 10, but the butterfly joints are going to bring him down. This guy's going to get a 7 out of 10. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.